Sunday, the community gathered to celebrate his life and the decades of service he gave to the Mid-Ohio Valley. Our Allison Powers spoke with a lieutenant from the fire department about Ian's life.
The community gathered to celebrate the life of engineer Ian Wise from Racine Fire Department. Wise answered his final alarm on the first day of 2026. Lieutenant Autumn Tackett says Ian was more than a firefighter. He was the person the department knew they could count on.
Ian was just one of those guys you knew that you could always count on. He was always there for us. Anytime we ever needed anything, Ian was our go-to guy. Very kind-hearted, willing to serve, always there for everybody in the community.
During the ceremony, Pastor Larry Fisher from Racine Methodist Church spoke about Ian's life. Pastor Fisher says Ian's love for fire trucks started as a child. Ian would call out the big trucks as he passed by, and his passion never faded.
And it was this thing of the attraction of the firehouse and being a fireman that hit him at a very early age. He actually moved out in his high school days from the family home to come live with the grandparents so he could be closer to the fire station.
Sunday's celebration of life brought together more than a dozen agencies from across the region. Lieutenant Tackett says it was a show of unity in a profession that has faced a considerable loss.
We are extremely grateful for the support that we received kind of community-wide here. We have a great foundation of fire family. Every department in the county has reached out to us in some form or another. It has been a pretty hard year for our fire service. We've lost numerous members, not just within our department, but within our community. So to see everybody kind of rally together and support one another is incredible.
Pastor Fisher says Ian's dedication to service extended far beyond the firehouse. Ian served in the United States Air Force, deployed to Iraq, and returned to his community as a volunteer firefighter, village council member, and president of the Syracuse Sewer District.
He was someone who filled a big spot and a big role in our community, and one I'm sure that will be missed.
Today we honor our engineer, our brother, and our friend, who served his community and his department with pride. Engineer Ian Wise, Unit 236, has answered his last call. His duties are complete. His tour has come to an end.
In Racine, this is Allison Powers with WTAP News.
A bridge